Hi, welcome to the small shed. This Saturday I've got a stool to repair for a lady. See you in a minute. Now, a lady came into the mini shed the other day with this stool that she insisted was a family heirloom, that was something that she really wanted to keep because it had a great sentimental value, because her father or grandfather had made it. I'm slightly dubious about that because I think it's looks like a commercially made chair to me, but that's not really the point. That's what the lady thinks. She's had it reupholstered, but the whole thing is very rickety, and she wanted to know if I could do anything with it, and I'm not really sure. It needs taking apart to get the joints re-glued, and unfortunately all of the joints are like rivets that have been put in, so it's going to be quite a job to take that apart. I think I'll start off just to actually take the covering off the top, and then that way I can put that to one side and it's not going to get damaged. The other thing is there's a bit of MDF which is holding the rail in to stop it coming apart when you sit on it. That's a bit poorly, and I'm sure we can do far better than that. But as I say, well, first of all we'll just whip this off, and then the whole thing wants a damn good clean by the look of it. It's covered in muck and grime of the years. And the screws were barely holding. It's probably to do with some slightly longer ones. I suspect that the covering is slightly thicker and therefore pushes it away. So we'll see if we can't lay our hands on some slotted screws that are a quarter of an inch or so longer. But I'll get that pad sort of tidied away somewhere safe out of the shed, because it's already getting covered in sawdust and muck, and as it's been recovered it seems a shame to put it into any harm's way. So that then leaves us with the main thing itself. As I say, there's quite a bit of work will be needed just to clean it up. I'm not going to strip it back and refinish it or anything, because I don't think that's would make it part of, you know, what it already is. It tends to take all the character away, but there's a lot of muck and that on it which could do with coming off. Time really to have a look at these rivets and see what I can do to get them apart safely, and whether I can get replacements or whether we reuse what we've already got. There's 4 of them, as you can see. I'm not sure. I mean, I would probably try and just tighten them up were it not for the fact that the actual thing itself needs gluing up, which I suppose I could do perhaps by just loosening it off, putting glue in and then clamping it back up. I don't know. I'm inclined to, I suppose it won't hurt to at least have a go to tighten one of these up and see if it does tighten the whole thing up at all. Because the other worry is that the hole itself that this is in has got bigger, and it will need sleeving out or a bigger rivet putting in. But I think I might just try and just tap one of these up tighter and just see what happens first. Yeah, it's surprising how much just pushing the washers down a bit further and then peening the end of the shaft over a bit more is tightening it up. So I'm going to carry on doing that at the moment, because it's actually getting there already, and I haven't even started to look at gluing up the base bits. I'm much happier now I know they move out quite far, that I can drop some glue into there and not have to take the whole thing apart, I think, and then just clamp it back up tight. So we'll carry on with these first, I think, and get the see if I can get it tighter that in and the joints, and then I can worry about the glued up bits later. If not, I'm going to have to do something about the joints themselves, the metal joints, but I think we might get away with it. Now for the joints I'm going to use Sino. It's probably not as good as the PU glue or the white wood glues, but I can get it to go into the gaps much more easily than those glues. It'll get in much further, and it tends to tell me fairly instantly as to whether or not I've achieved anything with the structure. I'm hoping it will last the course, but we will see. That one is much easier to do because I can actually get the whole thing undone. We'll try a bit of whitewood PU glue in that one, I think, and clamp it. The other end seems fine. I might also just put a little pin through the sides as well. That will help the joints remain safe and secure. That's better. But even just getting it tidied up like that, it's starting to feel much more secure. The other thing is, I think that as this end clamps in, it pushes the other, because of the joints in the middle there, it pushes the other ends out, which tightens up the joints at the other end as well, the metal ones. So it looks like it might help no end. Right, we'll get that clamped up and leave it for a bit, and we'll come back when that's dried off and clean it up and see where we are at that point. But even now it's at the point where it's as stiff. I can almost leave it on its own to not fall. So I think that's a lot of the problem, that it needed that tension on the frame from these rails being glued up. Right, while I'm waiting for the glue to dry, I thought I'd just make a new catch in beech rather than the MDF that we'd got before. It just holds the rail in place when you're sitting on the chair to stop it falling apart, but might as well keep it in keeping with the rest of the chair itself. And I might as well use the original as a template to drill holes with. Right, so it's had a bit of a chance to dry out the glue. Let's see what we've got. I can't even get the clamps off. Right, so there's a bit of a clean up to do, but actually I can feel already there's no rock in it anymore. It's done its job. That catch is now working okay. I might just round off the other side to make it sort of symmetrical. But no, I'm happy with that, without having to actually take apart the rivets, which is what I was really afraid of. I'm getting somewhere, I think, with this now. So what I'm going to do now is just run a bit of 320 grit round it, just to take all the rubbish and high spots off. As I say, I might try and do a bit with the darker patches, but I'm not going to do too much because, as I say, it's part of its story, really. And if the lady does want it taken back to bare wood and completely refinished, well, I'll do that for her, but at the moment I'm trying to restore rather than, and repair rather than rebuild and replace. Yeah. That's got most of the aged filth off it. Give it a quick rub down with sandpaper, and then I'm just going to give it a do of microcrystalline wax, just to give it a nice feel. Okay, that I think has done the job. It's still got a little bit of looseness here and there, but I can't, you know, you can't make the thing move like it was before. The whole thing was rocking. All the joints are now glued up. We've got most of the paint off it and cleaned it. Put a little bit of wax on it. So I think it's ready to go back to the lady. Not quite as big a job as I had feared. Right, so that's another little repair job done and out the way. It's as I said earlier, it's not as difficult as I thought it would be. Just tightening the rivets up and gluing the joints up has done the job, giving it a bit of a clean up. But I think essentially it's still got all the old character in it. Hope the video was of interest. Look forward to seeing you next week when we'll be doing something different, I hope. Look forward to seeing you then. Bye!